So back in 2017, I had the bright idea with a couple of friends that we could buy and sell cars and make money, but in the high-end car market. So we're talking Porsches, Audi R8s, Lamborghinis, that world. So we got a friend who had some funds and was like, I'll put the money in, you guys do the work, and we'll then flip the car. In which we bought two cars. The first was a Category D. So Category D in the UK is non-structural, so panel damage. Audi R8 V10. I think we paid about £35,000 for it, which is a fairly good price. It had about just over 30,000 miles on the clock, so not been driven very much either. In black, so fairly nice colour, fairly good spec. And decided that what we should do to this to add value is to make it a wide body with the Liberty Walk kit. Now, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. So we basically built an Audi R8 V10 wide body, Liberty Walk, but we went with the carbon pack. So it was the first European one, at least, with the Liberty Walk R8, as well as all the carbon fibre. So, but what we decided to do, unlike the others, is everyone else paints over the carbon because there's little imperfections. Instead, we decided to flatten, polish it, lacquer it multiple times to get rid of any of the imperfections. So we kept the side skirts, all the rear end, all in the original carbon and the front lip, and then just did the arches in the black, which was an interesting job working through it. Wish we documented it better. We put some stuff in Fast Car magazine, but back then that was the thing. That was a social media thing. It wasn't YouTube creation of doing the car. So basically replaced the relevant bad panels, a new rear wing, new front, did a little bit of repair underneath. There was some damage. Cut the arches, which was an interesting thing, and then re-welded those and redid the arches, which we got loads of backlash from people for cutting the arches with the grinder because it was aluminium. Which, yes, but everyone commented on it and gave us abuse, but it meant lots of people liked it and followed it. So, there's win-win when you get abuse online. So we did all that, got that done, put the arches on. But the one thing I did that was key here was actually built inner arches. Because if you look at most of the Liberty Walk cars out there, you'll find they have arches on, and inside they're just bare or very badly finished. So I actually went for and spent the time with ABS plastic, molded and formed inner arches to actually make it a higher level of finish Liberty Walk car, shall we say. With the R8, the fenders on the front for the hood go on the bonnet because the bonnet comes full width. So actually from that, it wasn't too bad. So you could cut those back. Now what we did, and whether this is the right thing or the wrong thing to do, trying to weld all those up is really difficult to do. So what we found is you can get like a really high grade windscreen sill they use when they put windscreens in cars, and you can get the primer that comes with it. So what we worked out was actually really, really good on those cars because the panels were all sectionable. So if you take the R8 chassis and you take the Lamborghini Gallardo chassis, they're basically the same underneath, but the panelling's all different on them. Obviously, there's a lot of changes, but from a base structure, so it means the rear wings are a bolt-on, bolt-off panel. So we cut the rear wings, and instead of trying to crush them together, weld them all, we basically used a special windscreen bond, primered them, and then bonded them in with a big thick layer, which just goes off absolutely solid. But the benefit is we could drill it afterwards to then fit inner arches to, and then button the inner arches in to make it a really neat job, rather than you getting dirt coming up between the kit and the car, because that's what you tend to find. I guarantee you, if you look at a lot of these cars that are wide-bodied out there that say haven't been cleaned that well, I guarantee you that area is just full of road dirt. I mean, you get it on the old Porsches because they haven't got arches on the old Porsches, and it comes out around the edge of the back headlights. And it's pretty much the same thing on the wide-body cars. It just comes out around the bit between the over fender and the body. Now, the wide-body kit for these vehicles, yes, they make them look really cool. But the big issue here is that the only way to make them look really cool is you have to put them on air ride. But you're taking a high-performance vehicle that's designed to handle well and drive well, and then you're putting air ride on it. And the two of those don't really go together at all. And now I'm older, this is, quite a few years on now, I would not do it again. And my respect for these cars is now completely different to what it was back then. Back then it was like, oh, this is really cool, wide body, low, all about the stance, the way it looks, which there is obviously a market for it, and there's a huge following. So I don't want to knock anyone that loves that stuff. But when you go for a car that's a driver's car that you want to enjoy and drive fast, take on track, you don't do a wide body Liberty Walk car. And because that car was never designed for that, in my head now I've got older, I don't look at them and think I'd want one, because it literally would just sit and be looked at. It would never be driven on the road, never been enjoyed. And that car is still now sat, looking pretty, but I think it's done 2,000 miles since it was built in 2017, because it's just not one of those cars you drive on the road regularly and that you really enjoy. Now, alongside that car, we did buy another car, which is the other extreme. And don't worry, this didn't go wide body. We found a Porsche 930 Turbo in a breaker's yard just outside of California with the original engine and box. So it had a knock on the back corner. The engine and box had been taken out for it to be fixed, but it had then just been left. So we managed to piece this together. I can't remember what we bought. I think we paid like $50,000 for it or something, which back then is not a bad price. Back in 2017, brought that in, and that then became a pig of a job. But you know, it's now finished on the road. But that was a full restoration, full body, dipped, repainted. Engine had to have a full rebuild. It was not in the condition we expected it to be in. Luckily, the gearbox was all right. But once you get started in one of those cars, it's like, how far do you go? Like, this is a car that's worth, I don't know, $250,000 or even more now. So it's how far do you go? How much work do you end up doing on it to make it as perfect as possible? So you got into a rabbit hole. So we ended up with these two complete polar opposite of cars. Then we went from a Liberty Walk Audi R8 and then a Porsche 930 Turbo, which the 930 Turbo is the one that we should have just stuck with from the beginning. And the R8 is probably now worth less than it was when we bought it, potentially. But there was always this stigma around it, especially in the UK and potentially in the US, is if I buy a car and wide body it with one of those fancy kits, is it more valuable? I mean, in my head, the simple answer is no, it's not more valuable. You may find the one or two people out there, you may find, you know, a footballer that's got a load of money that wants something really pretty to turn up a couple of times to places with, or someone that wants that one car that's different that no one else has got, but they're so hard to find. If you're gonna build one of these cars like that, you need to build it because it's what you want, not because you're gonna sell it, because you're not gonna sell it and necessarily make a large amount of money on it. It's more of a, you might get back what you've put in when you do sell it. You'd be better off buying your Lamborghini or your R8 and twin turboing it and having way more fun with it, because potentially you're not going to lose the money you put into doing that. From my opinion anyway. I'm sure people in the comments will have their own opinion on that, but
Successful car purchasing is all about knowing your buying power and being able to move quickly, and the best way to do that is getting pre-qualified with Premier Financial Services. Call one of these numbers, speak to one of their representatives, fill out their application, and then you'll know exactly how much car you can buy. You'll approach a seller, tell them you're already qualified, you've got your simple lease set up from Premier Financial, and you'll be able to close very, very quickly. That's why Premier is one of the most powerful partners in the world of exotic car financing, and that's why I turn to them every time I go out and try to buy something crazy.